Is this the lucky
recording.
last?
No, two more.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I just wanted to brief you both on my two learners who need language literacy and numeracy support, and how we deliver that program in regard to one of their business modules, so which is BSB WHS 411, implement and monitor workplace health and safety policies, procedures, and programs. So essentially what I'm going to cover is I'm going to give you an overview of the learning situation and the requirements, and then an overview of each of the learners and their LLN needs, and then also a list of support strategies that I've come up with, which each learner require, and then how I've amended the training unit and the assessment for this unit, and any resources that will be required, and then how we'll implement the program essentially. So, and then I'll ask for your feedback and I'll incorporate that feedback into the program as well. So essentially, I've got two learners. Both are currently studying the Cert 4 in business. Kate Byrne-Jones she's studying the stream of leadership, and Mick O'Malley is studying the stream of administration. But as part of their core units, they both need to complete the workplace health and safety unit, and so this plan is focused on supporting these two through that unit. So I've got Kate. She has difficulty reading and writing because she has an extreme short-sightedness, and she wears glasses as a result of that, but the glasses only get her so far. So I've done a core skills framework rate assessment on both of the learners, and she comes up with a reading, writing, and learning of score of 2 because of that handicap that she has. But because of this, she has really well advanced oral communication skills and listening, as well as numeracy. So yeah, so that's Kate. And then Mick, he has his scores are relatively good, but he has difficulty sitting and focusing for extended periods of time, and it's a like an ADHD kind of
Sensory
thing, but
overload, yeah.
sensory overload. So so his scores came out at that mid-level range. He does have strengths in reading, writing, and oral skills because of the work that he does, which is in communication. So he's developed that, and he's also because of this disability that he has, he's developed over time strategies which are to sit for short amount of times and focus for short amount of times, and then have lots of breaks in between his learning. So the support strategies that I've developed for both are for Kate, developing her reading techniques like skimming and scanning so that she doesn't have to read every word. She can pick out the main words as she goes through the text. And so developing those skills. And then allowing her additional time for planning, drafting, and editing any text that she needs to develop as part of her assessment. And then during the training, providing visual presentations with minimal or no words, so mainly visuals, essentially. And then for Mick, similarly, lots of visuals, less words, but also chunking it down into, say, 4 or 5 key points or slides, and then doing either an activity or having a break, just so that he doesn't get fidgety or agitated because he needs to sit for a long amount of time. And then incorporating small group activities in the training and the to help to reinforce that. So what I've done is I have amended the presentations in the training to be very visual and limited words and text, lots of pictures, and just key points to actually for the trainer to talk to. It's been chunked down into small segments of no more than 15 minutes each, and then some kind of break or activity incorporated. The reading required for the unit's either completed before the unit, so they can do it in their own time, or after each session, so that it allows them that flexibility. And then lots of open questions throughout the session, so that the trainer is able to understand whether they're actually getting it or not, and asking them to repeat it back, or repeat back key principles, essentially. And then the assessment. So explaining verbally to them both about what the assessment is required, rather than having to sit through, the lengthy texts, or having to sit and read a great deal. Providing them with additional time to complete the assessment activities, and allowing for reading and comprehension. And then the knowledge checks questions could be done verbally, or also allowing them extra time. And the skills demonstration can be completed in small groups as well, with an assessor present. And then finally, I think having a BKI LLN specialist to provide support through the training and assessment would be a good idea. And I also went to the website Ideas at Work and watched some of their videos, which has helped to inform what I've kind of basically amended for the workshop. So essentially, implementation is briefing you today, and I'll get your feedback on what your thoughts are. We'll commence and kick off on Thursday, the 6th of October at the normal 6 p.m. session. We'll do it on site at Broady, and we'll brief both Kate and Mick beforehand to let them know how we're going to deliver this, and also what support's available to them. And then after the completion of the course, I'll sit down with them and get some feedback on how it went and if they felt supported, essentially. So that's essentially it. I'm keen, if you have any feedback or thoughts on additional things I could incorporate, or things that you think might get in the way of having a successful delivery.
Thanks, Wendy.
That's all right. No worries at all. Anything that comes to mind?
Question, are these two learners part of a bigger group, broader group?
Yes. Yeah.
And so is there value in engaging that broader group, or will you, had you intended, to engage the broader group in that briefing that you were talking about for Kate and for
Mick?
Mick, yeah.
I hadn't, but I'm curious as to kind of explore that. Do you think there would be benefit in that?
I wonder whether or not the other students could support their learning.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly they couldn't, but at least there's that awareness, I suppose.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, so you're talking like a buddy system, Karen.
Yeah.
So buddying them up with somebody who, I think that's a great option as well.
Yeah.
Buddying up with a peer or somebody who can sort of help them a little bit in some of those troubled areas.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
And presumably they'll have access to the recorded. Oh no, because it's a face-to-face, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good question, Karen, and that was
kind
of be what my response was, because of it being a face-to-face session, and that you're talking about doing some sort of verbal questioning for activity 1.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be that you do something similar as the forum that we're using now, and we've done this previously, where you actually do verbal questions with the student and record that. and
Okay.
upload that into My Learning as evidence
Oh,
that they've
okay.
actually been able to competently achieve the knowledge questions.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a really good one. So
Yeah.
that's probably, I think it's great what you're doing, Wendy. That would be my only advice, would be getting
Okay.
that recorded evidence. Is a different way of collecting
Yeah.
that evidence. The other one was Mick. I noticed Mick had low numeracy score of 2.
Yeah.
Workplace health and safety, you know, there's a little bit of basic numeracy in there. I wouldn't say it's too high level, but there is a
Yeah.
little bit around rating the different risk levels and so
Yeah.
forth in the workplace. So that's
Yeah.
just something where I would have maybe done some form of reasonable adjustment to the
Okay.
assessments and sort of documented the reason why you've maybe assessed the risk rating differently to the normal skills matrix. But if that is an issue with his low numeracy levels,
Okay.
also maybe even reaching out to learning support at BKI around maybe giving you a bit more training or support in that numeracy area as well would probably be helpful.
Okay.
But
Beautiful.
apart from that, great job. Well done.
Excellent. Beautiful. All right. That's great. Great feedback. Thank you for that. I really
No worries.
appreciate it. Right. All right. Right. I'll come back to you after it's all done.
Okay, excellent.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
No
Thanks for the
worries.
opportunity.
No, thanks.